I did.
Holy shit.
All right, welcome in. It is a Union Bank and Trust Hail Varsity Postgame. I'm Austin Jacobsen. That is Ravi Lulla. And we are live, coming first and foremost from the victorious city of Lincoln, Nebraska, into the round of 16 teams remaining. 32 no more, and one of those remaining 16 will be the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Ravi Lulla, where were you when Braden Frager took the lead with 2.2 seconds remaining in Oklahoma City?
I was sitting right here in my basement in Omaha, Nebraska, and I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm going to remember the layup more or the missed half quarter that almost made me throw up from Turner there. Like from Tanner, I holy cow, I'm like a little nauseous. I'm going to be honest with you. Like that was
the
like,
way it circled in and nearly fell down. I mean, it was is there a more poetic way for this game to finish out? I mean, legitimately, this game back and forth throughout that second half, I was getting a nauseating feeling in my stomach at the under 6. Dr. Fiance, we were out in the Haymarket. We were down in with the people in downtown Lincoln today. We had to make the trip down. She had to go to the bathroom multiple times just so she could get the nauseating feeling out herself, because she felt like she was bad luck for everything that was happening when Vanderbilt went on scoring runs. This was an incredible, incredible game, incredible performance. But how about those Nebraska Cornhuskers finding a way to get it done? I mean, absolutely, absolutely incredible to win 74-72 in Oklahoma City and advance in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I mean, just objectively speaking, this was a great basketball game. I know that there were
there's
people talking about the officiating and stuff, and it was a bad crew. I don't know how slanted it was one way or the other, but it was a bad officiating crew. So like I don't know, we can get to that at some point. But in terms of like drama and tension and honestly just like resolve, like Vandy got punched in the mouth early. Nebraska punched them in the mouth pretty aggressively right off the bat, and Vandy had the resolve to come back, and then Nebraska, I'll be honest, about 4 to 6 minutes kind of looked dead to rights. Like Vandy was kind of getting whatever they wanted. There was 10 or 12 minutes in the second half there where it didn't seem like Nebraska could get a rebound, which felt a little haunting considering how some of the games went down the stretch for Nebraska. It seemed like they had obviously cooled off offensively. Everything was coming incredibly difficultly, with an incredible difficulty on the offensive end for Nebraska. And all of a sudden, their resolve kicks in. They start getting rebounds. They start getting stops. And let me say, like, I just got to say, I don't know whose decision it was to go 1-3-1 the last few minutes there from the zone defensively for Nebraska, but it completely threw Vanderbilt out of their rhythm. They got, I think, maybe one good look from the corner three after that. They missed it. It was an inspired decision and a gutsy one. Nebraska hadn't thrown out a zone all game, I don't think. And in the most critical moment of the game, they throw out a 1-3-1 zone. It completely flummoxes Vanderbilt's offense, which had been for a good point of the portion of the second half, it kind of been dicing Nebraska up a little bit. And all of a sudden, they can't get anything done offensively, and Nebraska finds a way to, and this might be the most underrated part, finds a way to rebound out of that zone when that's generally the most challenging part of the zone, and it was the thing that Nebraska was struggling with in the second half. Like, we're going to talk about a lot of things, but going to a zone in that situation cannot be overlooked in terms of changing the out. I genuinely think it changed the outcome of this game.
I'm in South Lincoln right now. Shout out future brother-in-law. We're in Kellen's office just hanging out here. There are fireworks going off. I hear people screaming in the streets. This isn't the Purge. This is Nebraska ball. I mean, this is an absolutely incredible scene. Like, I'm just looking out the window and I just see the most ridiculous sights and sounds. I just witnessed two men hugging each other. This is incredible. Like, and to think that all of that could have been for naught had the gravitational pull been a little bit closer to the equator today. I mean, absolutely incredible what we've witnessed in a basketball game, in valid performances, in team balance, in overcoming officiating. Well, however you want to dice it, Nebraska overcame in every single capacity today. And you're the ball head. I'm going to let you obviously dive into like what you saw, kind of what you talked about there and everything. We'll talk about, what that first half looked like, the second half, but pure emotion and just pure anxiety that built up there in that second half. What a way for Nebraska basketball to snuff out truly all tension, haters, doubters, anyone that said, well, this team hasn't won against a tournament team in the past 6 weeks of their regular season. Doesn't matter now. This team's never won an NCAA tournament game in its history. Out the window. This team has never advanced into the NCAA tournament, let alone into the second stage, now the second weekend. We said it before at the last Hail Varsity Postgame when we were live after Thursday's game. Listen, the volcano's off, right? Anything's possible for this team. And we saw it tonight. They've got magic in them now. And when you've got Lady Luck on your side, anything can be possible. And this team continues to prove day in and day out that 20 wins in a row was not a fluke. That competing against some of the top teams that are still alive in this NCAA tournament and will play in that 16 seed round next weekend still are competing against the top teams. And they did it again against an SEC team that truly had its own warts, but somehow found a way to get nearly to the last shot. But Nebraska finds a way to get the win. I mean, I'm just in awe. I can't stop thinking about just the raw feeling of I've never had this feeling as a Nebraska athletics fan in my generation's time. 28 years, I've never had this sort of feeling of being like, holy shit, they did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, I mean, that's the right sentiment, right? Like as we were sitting here,
sorry to interrupt you, but Funky Giblets brings up a great point. Someone please check on Kent Pavelka. Oh my God.
I was gonna say, can we get a wellness check? Because I don't know, like, he's not a young man. I'm concerned about the blood pressure, about just everything there. But no, I mean, as we're sitting here, you and I off air watching the end of the game, and you were a couple seconds ahead of me. Just processing it, like, holy shit's the only proper way to describe this, right? Like, there are no other words. Yeah. Like, I half expected you just to open the show with that, because like the way that played out, the way the and just all of it, the emotion, the tension, the officiating, the strategic changes, And let's not forget, Nebraska played a huge chunk of that second half without Jamarcus Lawrence because of the foul trouble, because of that officiating that we mentioned. And again, no coincidence, not too long before they switched to that 1-3-1 zone, they brought Jamarcus Lawrence back in the game as well. So that was an incredible performance by Nebraska. It was incredible resilience by Nebraska. And honestly, if on a night where they weren't they didn't get hardly anything easy all night.
Yep.
That shot by Frager to win the game may have been the easiest look they had all night outside
and for
of
Frager too. I mean, they let him go left at the very end of the game for the first time. He finally had an open look down the lane, and they allowed him to go to his strong hand, something Mike Sauter had talked about on Friday's show, and finally allowed him a lane and some open air to get vertical, and he found a way to get it down, and then from there, it was just trying to make sure that you survive a three-quarter shot.
Yeah, I mean, and you know why that happened was the gravity of Price Sanford. Price Sanford had the ball in the wing.
Yes.
Two guys go to Price, and that leaves Frager open to go to his left, to his strong hand, and make that game-winning layup. That was, that's one of the things that you can't, Price ends up with 15 points. He made some incredible shots. Had a great night. Obviously, wasn't the 7 3-pointers he had against Troy or anything, but had a great night. Nothing at all came easy for Price. Every one of those threes looked like they had no business going in. Every one of those shots looked like they had no business going in. But the gravity of Price Sanford allows for things like Braden Frager's game-winning drive to the hoop to happen. Nobody, if that's anyone else in that position with the ball in their hands, Frager is marked properly on that broken floor play. They just are, because you're not panicking to find out where Price Sanford is. And so even when he's not making shots, even when he's not even taking shots, he is such an important part of this team. And, obviously that goes without saying, but sometimes we miss the little things of that, where two guys aren't running out to Sam Hoiberg in that situation. As good as Sam is,
yep.
Two guys aren't going to mark Sam in that situation. Two guys aren't going to mark Jamarcus Lawrence in that situation. That's a purely Price Sanford play, and then obviously a great move and finish by Braden Frager to seal that thing as well. And as we're talking through kind of the end sequence after that, because obviously they get the timeout, and we're like, okay, they're gonna have to inbound it from under the hoop still. I was like, you want to make somebody catch the ball going back away from their hoop. And then I was like, you're probably looking at like no better than a half quarter. And that was the case. It was a little bit further than that, honestly. But man, that was that's literally, as you mentioned, the gravitational pull, the rotation of the earth. I mean, I think if the air conditioner is blowing a different direction in the building, like that ball might go down. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
Yep.
That ball just might go down in literally
18,000 Husker fans blow in one direction. That's what it took, right? Like they all were pushing the wind one way.
Yeah, it might have been just the decibels from the shot that Frager made that shook the earth just enough. That's how close that thing was to going down. Daniel brings up a really good point. I think those two fouls away from the ball against Price had a big outcome in the end of the game. Also, 100% accurate. And again, that's not going to go in the stat sheet as 7 3-pointers. That's not going to go in the stat sheet as, this amazing shooting performance. But it is, again, 100% caused by the fact that you cannot afford to lose Price Sanford. And so, and honestly, you could probably call that on every single possession. Because people are clutching and grabbing and holding and fouling Price Sanford on every single possession when he's moving without the ball. And for as inconsistent and honestly, it was a very poorly officiated game, I thought. Like, it was super inconsistent. Yep. I think they missed a bunch of stuff. It was obviously they missed a bunch of stuff on the Nebraska side. They missed a double dribble that Jamarcus Lawrence had that I'm not complaining about. It was just a badly officiated game. But that was huge that they actually called it in that moment, because some Vandy fans were like, oh, they got bailed out. No, it's like you're lucky you got away with it for the first 38 minutes. That's basically how I view it. Like you could literally call that on every possession because of how dangerous Price Sanford is. And I was in a group text with Matt DiMarinis and DB and Jacob Padilla from Hurrdat, and like the how quickly Price goes from in a totally non-shooting position to having the ball out of his hand already is unreal. We talked about the 0.3 release, but I'm talking about like he's running, he's like crouched over, he's not even does not even appear to be a threat to the ball's already out of his hand is unbelievable. And that's why he put so much pressure on Vanderbilt, whether it's the last possession where they send two guys at him, or whether it's the couple possessions before that where they foul away from the ball. He puts so much pressure on you because even when he doesn't look like he's a threat, he is literally less than half a second away from ruining your life. So like the Price Sanford effect is super real here. I did think Frager played a really good game in general. I thought he played really well. Yeah. I thought he was importantly really, really aggressive to the hoop in a way that was really important for Nebraska in this game because they had a hard time getting they had a hard time getting Sam to the hoop consistently. They had a hard time getting Jamarcus to the hoop consistently. Rink, I think, only made one shot from, what did he finish? He finished 5 of 10. I think he only made one shot that I can remember from inside the paint where he was able to post up and get a shot there. So getting that pressure on the rim from Frager was hugely, hugely important.
Also, a few notes. Let's do some back check work here. This Hail Varsity Postgame is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. I'm Austin Jacobsen. That is Ravi Lulla again. If you're just tuning in, maybe you just woke up from your nap, or maybe you just woke up from a coma. Whatever it is, the earth has shaken in Nebraska. It is a basketball state after all, as they are now into the next round of the NCAA tournament, past the round of 32, past the round of 64, with a win over Vanderbilt 74-72. Those Oklahoma City bars better be ready. They had some trouble today, I was told, or saw online. Not enough ice, not enough Busch Light. I pray that this long game for them that the officials made even longer gave them enough time to restock from Tulsa, from Norman, from maybe Austin, wherever they could get beer and ice. They better have trucked it into Oklahoma City because there ain't no way there's going to be a bar empty tonight in OKC. And that is a guaranteed fact. Nebraska is moving on. The fan base showed out. The drama of this game. And I know you talk about kind of all of the other things with the Price Sanford effect. I thought he was incredible at different times when he was shut off really in the first 8 minutes of the game. He decided to take kind of a step-up three-pointer where he had a little bit of an opening, stepped into it, took his shot, even with a hand in his face. I was standing in the rail yard, and I heard two guys look at each other at the same time, and they just said, that is one of the most contested made three-point shots I've ever seen. And I agreed with them. Like, Price had to find a way to make his own opportunities. And then his choice to get himself into a shooting rhythm, into some sort of being an offensive weapon, opened up everything, like you were saying, for the Huskers from there. Don't want to go too far away from talking about potentially the Bear Cave Buchenjal game, because what a performance by Bear K as well. From the very beginning, hitting a three-pointer of all things from the start, then adding a second one in the second half when Nebraska had to match all the scoring that was going back and forth with Vanderbilt. And then obviously everything else that Bear K gives you. This was an incredibly gritty performance by so many different Huskers. We could go down the roster of every single guy that contributed in major ways. But Bear K to me stood out, especially because of everything that this team has embodied all season long.
Are we doing positive vibes only, or what are we doing?
I mean, you tell me. You have a negative Bear K comment? Is that what you want to get to?
I do, actually. So you're right.
Okay, please. No, please. You know what? Bring us back down, Ravi. You're always, what does DB call you? Like, you're
I'm not trying to be a downer. There were some, and I think this is why Fred went to the 1-3-1. And that's why I bring it up at all. Is there were a bunch of situations, especially in the second half, where and Bear K did have an incredible game. I want to start with that. Like, was really, really good. There were a bunch of situations, and because of the because of the size issues, like Vanderbilt's not a big team and they're super athletic. So like some of the matchups with Rink and with Berke were challenging. I think this is why Fred ultimately went to the zone late. Was Berke was having a really hard time containing when they switched on like whether it was Tanner or Miles. He was having a really hard time, and it seemed like he was kind of overcommitting on the switch instead of just containing, and it compromised the defense a few times, and that's where they got some of those really, really wide open three-pointers on the ball movement. And so that was my only like nitpick is I do think he struggled a little bit on the switch, which is totally understandable considering who he was like being asked to switch on. But that led directly to what I think was the most important decision of the game, which was going to the 1-3-1 zone late and basically just saying, hey, Nickel, you're not going to get another 3 off. Tanner, you're not going to get another 3 off. If somebody else beats us, we can live with that. And they couldn't, right? Yeah. So not really a criticism of Berke, but kind of a mismatch issue with Vanderbilt that led to a really great adjustment by Fred Hoiberg. But Berke, offensively especially, really great game. 2 for 2 from 3-point range, as you mentioned, 12 points. He did a great job on the offensive end when Nebraska was not getting easy stuff on the offensive end at all.
All right, so again, Hail Varsity Postgame, Nebraska survives Vanderbilt is what the banner says. How about Nebraska outlasts Vanderbilt? I mean, you could put any adjective in there. It was an incredible game of basketball. I'm flipping through Twitter right now and looking through our comments as well. Again, if you'd like to join us in the chat, we are on live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. If you'd like to be able to go check that out on the Hail Varsity and Hurrdat Sports channels, of course, stay tuned to all those channels as well, because we will have all the post-game press conference clips, more commentary from Anna Bellinghausen, Mike Sauter, and our team that is down in Oklahoma City right now. That is Ravi Lulla. I'm Austin Jacobsen. Just flipping through social media right now. They're calling this the game of the year, game of the century. I mean, obviously you can put into perspective the amount of emotion that goes into a game like this. Vanderbilt had been on its own type of NCAA tournament drought. Obviously none as deep as Nebraska's went going into the tournament. But the Vanderbilt, I won't say crowd because Nebraska drowned them out entirely in this game. But man, they were in this one, and it meant something to them too. And no, it's not taking down Duke, and it's not taking down North Carolina or some blue blood college basketball power, but this meant a lot for a lot of people. And for Nebraska to come out with this one, there's going to be like so much emotion that comes from this. And I don't know. I don't want to get too hyperbolous with everything that's coming in, but to me, just sitting in this moment right now, Ravi, this is up there with like the Ndamukong Suh and Alex Henry Colorado game, right? Like this is up there with like some of these other fantastic memories of Nebraska athletics from all these years past. And I sit with that one, especially just because that was one of my first memories of being like a Husker, just athletics fan, not even just football in general. But I sit and I just like, I'm just feeling this moment, and it feels like everyone is celebrating this together. And that's what this team has like done so well, is they just continue to find a way to rally everyone together in the moment. And here they are celebrating the biggest moment that the program's ever had.
Yeah, I mean, kind of to your point about whether it's blue bloods or not blue bloods or whatever. I mean, the fact of the matter is, once you make it to a certain point, like nobody gives a shit who you played. They just don't. It doesn't matter, right? Like, I think 2011 UConn won the national championship over an 8-seeded Butler team from the Horizon League. Guess what? They still get to raise a banner just the same. You know, you don't get bonus points for beating Duke, right? You don't get bonus points for beating Kansas. You get points for how far you make it in the tournament. And Nebraska is playing in the round of 16. Like that's the entire, that's the entire story of it, right? Like that's all that really matters. So, anybody that is trying to hate on us, like, well, look who they had to play there. Who cares, man? You play who you play. You play the teams in front of you. That's all you can do. And you have to win the games in front of you. The next one, like, they will surely get all the credit they deserve if they take down Florida. Because that's a really, really good Florida team, right? So, but
we don't know it's Florida.
Yes, I'm making an assumption here. I think Iowa can keep it close. I really do. I've said this since the bracket came out. stylistically, Iowa is a team that has the ability to keep it close against literally anyone, just limiting possessions. That's just how they play. But Florida's really, really good. We've already seen in Nebraska and Iowa split their season series. Like that is, it doesn't matter though. Like nobody cares who you play. And if they do, they're just a hater. Like you make it to you play whatever teams are in front of you, you win those games and you move on to the next one. Nobody cares if it's by 2 points or 20 points or 100 points. You just keep winning those games, keep marching on. And when you're in a place like Nebraska where you've never been this far in the tournament before, you really don't care, right?
Yeah.
You could
yeah.
like if Queens College somehow had made it there and that you have to play Queens College for a national title, guess what? Nobody cares. Right? You go and you go and you win that game, right? That's all that matters. And so I'm here for all of the emotions and the nostalgia, and it's I'm just super happy for I've got some people in my life that are just diehard Nebraska basketball fans, right? And they are I texted a couple people after the game on Friday. I just said like, hey man, like I'm happy for you. Like I'm just really happy for you. And because I know what it's been like, and I know that they genuinely like they went through some like there was a year where Lance Jeter was the leading scorer on this team at like 11 points a game. Like that it was bleak for a long time. And that's no hating on Lance Jeter. He's a nice basketball player, but if he's leading you in scoring and that's at 11 points a game, it's probably pretty rough out there,
Yeah.
and they more recently, like this was this 28th win of the season? Yeah. 28th win of the season.
Yep. And it just keeps getting better. Another one added.
It took 4 years to get to that number under Hoiberg. 4 years to get to 28 wins under Hoiberg. And now they got it in one season and they're playing in the round of 16 and they're going to Houston. Like this is an absolute, like everything here is just absolute joy from here on out. I mean, it has been since Friday and it will be God knows how many Nebraska fans are going to be in Houston. That's an easy flight. If I can help you out here, guys, there's a direct flight on Southwest from Omaha to Houston. I've got family down there, so I'm very familiar with it. It's usually pretty affordable, but I'd get in there now.
Should we see what ticket prices are right now for that, just like plane wise?
It, honest to God, would not shock me if it's sold out already. Like it would not surprise me at all.
You keep talking. I'm looking at Southwest right now. I'll figure it out for you.
That is an easy nonstop flight. It's about 2.5 hours. I've made it many, many times. It is also about a 14-hour drive if you're interested. So for a Midwesterner, that's not much. You got it. If you're working, see if your boss will let you work remotely in Oklahoma City, then it's only about 7 more hours from there. If you just want to stay there for the week as well. The
looks like about 450 round trip, and especially, I mean, if you're down there, stay for the weekend, might get a little bit of a discount. Who knows? You're going down anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there will be no lack of Nebraska fans in Houston next week. That's my point, and nor should there be. That's going to be an incredible atmosphere. I have all the faith in the world that Nebraska fans will show out like they always do, and like they did this weekend. Kenny says 2-day drive. I've made that drive in 1 day. It's rough. It's a long day, but you can do it. It's certainly doable. It is like a full 14 hours though. So that's
yeah.
Just be prepared, and you're probably going to have to leave the day before.
Oh my God. Just incredible. And again, I mean, we're talking Nebraska basketball on to the next round of the NCAA tournament. I asked you this on Thursday's game, and the way that Nebraska won against Troy and the super tall Trojans, people forget they had a 6'9" guy. Don't know how many of those guys played for Vanderbilt, but Nebraska found a way to get a win. And I asked you, the way that Nebraska won, if you felt more confident in how this team could move forward. I mean, I don't want to label anything, but this will be attached to Nebraska. Regardless of anyone else that wins on Sunday or has won today, Nebraska is officially the team of destiny bid for the next round of the NCAA tournament. That is what they will be called moving forward. They get to practice another week. in Pinnacle Bank Arena and all of the different venues that they'll prepare for next week in Houston. But that is the label that they get. So, Ravi, I'll ask you again, 2 days after I asked you the same question. Does this change how far you think Nebraska can go in this year's NCAA tournament?
I mean, it's hard to look past without knowing what the exact matchup is. Obviously, we know they can beat Iowa. We've seen them do it already.
Yep.
Like, that's a team that Nebraska is very familiar with, and we know that they can beat Iowa. I don't love the matchup against Florida. I don't, but we haven't seen them play Florida, and frankly, Florida does have a guard problem. Like, they don't. They struggle with they don't have the guard play they had last year. Walter Clayton Jr. and Richard are both gone. Will Richard, they don't have the guards they had last year. And so while Florida has things that Nebraska struggles with in terms of size and physicality and athleticism, I don't know, like, who are they putting on Price Sanford? Could this be one of those Jamarcus Lawrence games where he goes off for 28 or 30 points because of the lack of guard play for Florida? Like, it would be fascinating to see. It will be fascinating to see. It's not hypothetical. Like, they're going to play one of those teams next week. Like, that's we don't have to jump ahead anymore. One of those teams will be playing in against Nebraska next weekend. So, I guess Thursday or Friday. That's close enough to the weekend. I still, like, I said this was a Sweet 16 team. After watching that ball rim out, maybe every bounce is going to go Nebraska's way. I have no idea. Like, I still can't. I don't know, like, from a physics standpoint, how that ball didn't go in for Tanner. Like, it hit it hit every portion of the rim. Like, every portion of the rim. And I'm still a little queasy. Like, I mentioned Butler earlier. Remember that championship game where Gordon Hayward has the half court shot against Duke?
Yep.
Every time I watch that on One Shining Moment or whatever the highlights are,
you think it goes in every time?
I think it's going in every single time. I've been watching that same replay for 16 years, and I've seen it hundreds of times. I think it's going in every single time, and Tanner's was much closer to going in than Gordon Hayward's was. Like, I don't know how, like, that's the best context I can put this in, because it was just unreal that it didn't go down. And, like, thankfully, but as you're watching that, you're like, oh no, he made it.
I know. And I know you just said it a little bit, but can you peek behind the curtain one more time? Because I didn't realize how just slightly ahead in the stream I was for you, because we were on this little stream together, and I turned on our audio so that way, like, we could communicate with each other. And I didn't realize I was ahead. So can you walk me through, like, what's going through your head when you, like, heard?
Yeah. So when you put out the exclamation, I thought he made it. Like, for 3 seconds, I thought he made the shot, because I don't remember which expletive you let out, but it was, like, in such a subdued way, and there was no, like, hands in the air or anything like that. That was like an obvious joyous celebration. It was just like a holy bleep, or I don't remember. I really don't remember which word you said. And so I sat there and I'm like, oh no, I was like, there's no way he made this. Especially, like, I'm seeing him catch the ball 70 feet from the hoop after, like, as you're saying this, I was like, there's no way. And then I see it release, and I was like, oh no. Like, I was like, between your reaction and the release of the ball, I'm just sitting there and going, oh no, he made this. God. And so that probably goes into the shock of him, like, the make not make of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that probably is baked into my nausea a little bit, but, like, there was at least 2 seconds where I thought he made the shot, and it was before it even left his hands on my TV, and it was because I was about 2 seconds behind you.
What's so funny too is that this, like, the entire experience, and, like, I've already touched on this a little bit, it's so fun and it's so fulfilling. And a sentiment. I really wanted to make an effort tonight, not only just to have the fun with it, because we haven't had many of these, but because I haven't really gotten a good pulse of Nebraska basketball fans. I haven't had the pleasure of being able to go to PBA. I've been watching the games, obviously, from home. But watching this game essentially neutrally in Lincoln, in the rail yard, amongst all the people, like with the Husker fans and stuff, not in the arena is kind of what I'm saying and what I mean. Yeah. Like, obviously riding with the emotions of the game in real time, but watching it, I guess, from a distance, just the amount of people that I heard saying, God, I just want them to win this because they have X, Y, or Z. They've worked so hard. This team is so likable. I just want them to win. They deserve it so much. All of these sentiments are just turning out, and now it's turning into celebration. And it's so well deserved for a team that they got over the hump, that they got the monkey off their back when it came to the NCAA tournament bug. And now they're just continuing to move forward, onward and upward. And just, I share all those same sentiments as well. It feels just so incredible to know that we've been rooting for this team that was stuck in the mud at the end of the 21 season. And of course, in the 22 year, there's the talks that Fred may be on the hot seat, and then they go on a February run. They make an NCAA tournament bid in 23, but can't get over the hump. In 24, they can't secure one last victory in the final month of play to be able to get in the Big Ten tournament and give themselves a chance to get to an NCAA tournament. They win the crown. They start the season off hot. They begin the year with a win over one of the top players in the NBA draft profiles in an exhibition at home. They cruise through the first 20 games. They win the big Michigan State game. They continue, plowing forward and figuring out different ways to steal hearts, not only across the country, but especially in the state. And then they find new and exciting ways to reel us back in each and every time. And there's so much of the game that we can dive into, obviously, Ravi, but like just this overall emotion and just outpouring of support is going to be 20 times over what we saw in Oklahoma City, I believe, even though it's a little bit further, even though it's going to be a bigger stage, even though it's going to be a better team more than likely than what you've seen the past 2 rounds in the NCAA tournament. Somehow, some way, Nebraska basketball is finding new and impressive ways to garner more and more support, and they're going to have it in Houston for sure.
Yeah, I mean, what I think the biggest difference here is going to be the time that's been off now. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will allow this to become the national darling, right?
Yes.
High Point just lost to Arkansas literally seconds ago. So they're out in terms of being the Cinderella darling of the tournament. Usually it's not as somebody that's as high as a 4 seed that is going to capture the attention of the tournament like that. But you look at the bracket and what's left. You don't have, I think, nobody lower than a 12 advance from the first round. Now the lowest seed, High Point, is bounced. They're gone. In the second round, the national story is going to be about Nebraska. And the next 3 days, Fred Hoiberg's going to look like he's running for governor because he's going to be on your TV constantly. He's going to be on, whatever, every national show talking about this Nebraska basketball team. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see Kent Pavelka on a bunch of these. And with the way his story took off after Friday, and now people will actually have time to kind of dig in and get their stories out there about this team and about, I bet you'll see stories about Rink Mast and the year off and the knee injury, and they didn't know if he was going to play again. And you'll see stories about the culture that allowed Jamarcus Lawrence to leave and come back, and the development of Sam Hoiberg and Braden Frager and Cale Jacobsen. Like, all of these things will start to become national stories instead of just the stories that we talk about around here locally. And that's going to be a huge, huge deal. That, I think, is going to be the biggest shift from this weekend to next weekend. Is this will now be officially the national story of the tournament, that Nebraska basketball is one of the last 16 teams surviving. And they might, I would venture to guess, in terms of history, I mean, definitely in terms of history, they will be the strangest team surviving and the least likely team to be surviving in terms of what the history of of this tournament. Yeah, Quentin's right. Utah State is still alive, but they're a 9 seed. Miami, nobody cares about Miami. I mean, I know they're a lower seed than Nebraska, but
no, you're not getting the U. No.
Miami is just so unlikable in everything forever that it just does they just that's just I think that's how nationally they're viewed.
And let's be clear, even on the Utah State side of it, the Cinderella slipper definitely fits Nebraska more, even if they were 4. If they were the 1, they would still be the Cinderella because of everything that's gone on. I mean, we don't need to get into the national type of conversation with it, but they have now taken a chokehold of what people want to root for in the NCAA tournament. It's a position Nebraska ball fans have found themselves rooting for maybe other teams in the tournament before, but it's their team now. Their team is Cinderella for the first time ever. And they are going to have people jumping on the Big Red bandwagon. And listen here, there's plenty of room. If you want to join in, jump on. But listen, we're getting going right now. So you better jump on before there's not any room left, because we're all going to Houston. We're going with a vengeance, because no matter who they play, they're going to be down there and they're going to have a great time. And again, there's gonna if it's Florida, it's gonna invoke all these memories of a 95, national championship in football, and they're gonna replay all these great Tommy Frazier runs, and it'll be beautiful, chef's kiss, right? And if it's Iowa, great. We've got all the red-blooded hate that we need for the Hawkeyes. It's not going to be hard for anyone to get up for that game. And then why not? Let's carry it even further. And how many more rounds can we go? And how big can this thing get? I don't care how far this goes at this point. My heart will be broken whenever it ends. In fact, if they win the national championship, I'll be sad that there's no basketball left. I'll hope that they don't play in the Crown. I want them to play in the NBA Summer League. I don't care how long they have to play. I want this team to play forever. They can all come back. Let's just pretend Nebraska's a JUCO and Diego Pavia this thing. Let's give them all as many years as scholarships as they want. This has been one of the greatest moments in a Nebraska basketball and Nebraska athletic fans' life, and a Nebraskan's life. Truly, if you've been rooting for this team for day one or yesterday, this is a moment for you. And like I said, for everyone nationally that's tuned in to Hail Varsity Postgame right now, if you want to join in now, because I don't know how much room we're going to have left if this thing keeps rolling.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and it's just such a likable team. I think that's kind of the extra, that's the cherry on top, right? Like that's the cherry on top of this whole thing. It's just a likable team. There's, you've got the storyline with the coach's kid and all that kind of stuff. You've got Price Sanford, who's a legitimate NBA talent. You've got, Rink Mass, who's coming back from the injury, like I talked about. There's just so many likable people, likable storylines within this team that it's easy to hop on and to grab on and want to just be a part of this ride with them. And like, you can't blame people for wanting to be a part of it and for wanting to be a part of that bandwagon. But there's, like you said, there's plenty of room. There's no lack of seats on the Nebraska bandwagon. I know the state slogan was, it's not for everybody, but everybody's welcome. You can come on board and root for this team and just see what happens. I mean, at this point, just see what happens. Like, you're right. No matter how this ends, there will be sadness regardless of how this ends, just because it's over, right? Whether it is next weekend in the round of 16 or whether it is next month in the national championship, there will be sadness that this is over. So don't worry about like, oh, well, like, is this going to ruin it if they lose or whatever? Like, there is no ruining what's happened. There is no ruining it. This is the best season in Nebraska basketball history. It is the best story in college basketball this year, regardless. This is the win has already been achieved, right? So everything from here on out is still a win. Everything. So regardless of how you think it's going to go or how I think it's going to go or where this ends or when this ends or whatever else, everything is a win. Like, this has been an incredible season, an incredible ride, and it's not over yet. But like I said, whether it ends next weekend in Houston or next month with a national championship, there will be sadness because it's over, because this has been such a fun team to ride along with, and to go through the 20-0 and to go through, being in the top 10 for almost the entire season. Like, that's, I think, the thing that we forget about sometimes with this team is, and less so tonight, I guess, than Thursday. And I understand there was some nervousness Thursday, just because you didn't, or Friday, no, Thursday, just because you didn't have the win under the belt yet. But like, this is just a good basketball team. Like, that, there's no other way around this. Nebraska is just a good basketball team. They've beaten good basketball teams all year. They are just a good basketball team. And that is, like, that's, just enjoy it. Just enjoy everything. And tonight's box score is a great example of that, right? Berke, 12 points. Price, 15 points. Mass, 13 points. Jamarcus, 9 points. Sam, 8 points, 6 assists. Frager, 15 points, I believe, and 5 assists. 5 assists from Braden Frager. That's huge. That's not what he does.
No.
Like, that's not what he does. 15, 5, and 5 for Braden Frager. Like, that's a phenomenal game.
Is that his best game this year?
I mean, when you include the stage, it has to be. Like, there's
right.
Like, and it's not like he just shot the lights out. He only went 1 from 3 from 3-point range. Like, he went out.
But listen, that one was big. I mean, that was a huge one.
They needed it badly. That was when Vanderbilt could not miss. They needed that one badly. So was the second Berke one, by the way.
I said it earlier. I told you Berke had it. To quote one great Mike Sauter, Berke played his nuts off.
Where's the meme? Put the meme up.
Okay, I'll get the meme. Hold on.
This was this is the performance I've been waiting for Braden Frager, where it wasn't just, hey, I'm hot from 3, I'm gonna have a good night. It was, hey, there's a bunch of things I can do on this basketball court to help us win a ball game. That is a huge, huge difference and a huge level of maturity from Frager to be able to make plays and to be an impactful part of the team and an impactful part of this game without necessarily just having a great shooting night. All of his good games before this, it's mostly been like, oh man, he went like 4 for 7 from 3, and like he was just really hot, and he had some cool dunks and whatever else. Like, no, this was a complete basketball game from Frager, and he did a phenomenal job. But you look at the box score and you're like, oh, they don't win without that guy. They don't win without that guy. Like, there's literally 6 guys, 7 probably, because the minutes that Leo Curtis had at the end of the first half, when Rink got his second foul, like, that was really important. That was really important, and he got a bucket out of it as well. But like, that was a good couple minute stretch from Leo Curtis as well. And in a 2-point game, you can sit there and say, yeah, that 2 minutes from Leo Curtis at the end of the first half matters.
Oh yeah.
That's a huge, huge thing. And so, everybody that played tonight, I know Kale had a rough night offensively. Didn't play his best for sure, but even providing 14 minutes when Jamarcus Lawrence is in foul trouble and keeping Nebraska ahead through that entire time when Jamarcus Lawrence is in foul trouble, or for the most of that time when Jamarcus Lawrence is in foul trouble, that's a huge contribution, even if it wasn't his best game, which obviously it wasn't, so that was, it's really easy just to sit here and be like, yeah, this is a team where you can go down the box score, and literally everybody that played, I think you can make an argument, they could not have won this game without the contribution from every one of the 8 guys that played.
Yeah, I just while you were talking there, Ravi, I just had to double check ESPN, make sure Nebraska did win, because I just couldn't believe 74-72 the final over the 5th seeded Vanderbilt Commodores. I don't love the ESPN game flow or win probability stat, but at the 3:59 mark of the first half, Nebraska had their highest probability of winning at 79% when Braden Frager made his driving layup. 31-21, Nebraska's largest lead of the game at 10. Nebraska's largest loss probability was at Tyler Nichols' 26-foot three-pointer with 5:34 left in the second half, 67-62. Vanderbilt was up by 5 at that point, was the largest lead of the game, and Nebraska's win probability was at 20%. After Sam Hoiberg missed a driving layup with under 40 seconds to go and Vanderbilt led 72-70, Nebraska's win probability was at 29%. And after Braden Frager went up to score, Nebraska's win probability went up to 96%. And I know you and Damon on Hurrdat Sports Live beginning Monday are going to talk a lot about the stats. You're going to talk about what you saw from the game. Both of you are going to rewatch the game. We will know who Nebraska's next round opponent will be. This is a cause for celebration. I mean, I can't stop saying it. I can't stop thinking about it. I do want, let's just take maybe one brief pill, because let's do one quick act like you've been there before. What cause for concern from these two NCAA tournament games so far for Nebraska have you seen that has you concerned about what Nebraska's ability to move forward is, especially after what you saw in a win over Vandy and a win over Troy?
I mean, the biggest thing, and this was kind of the issue down the stretch as well, was they don't get quite enough easy looks on the offensive end. There are stretches that they go through where they have to work really, really hard to get open looks. You talked about the shots that Price Sanford made. He didn't have a good look all night, honestly. Every shot that he made was challenged, contested. It was really hard for him to get open looks. It was really hard for, we talked about Kale. Usually he's good for a few good looks when he comes off the bench. Really, the guy that consistently got the best looks probably was Frager, in terms of just his ability attacking the rim and getting to the cup there. But that would be my biggest concern, is just not getting enough easy looks offensively. But we also know that they're capable of doing that because they did it earlier in the year, right? So if they can find that a little bit, and the reason they didn't get them today was obvious. It was Vanderbilt is a really athletic team that's really disruptive. They are, I think they're a top 30 Ken Palm defense. They're right in that range of 30. So a quality defense, but they're also just super disruptive. Tanner's going to get remembered for the 27 points. He also had 4 steals. He just picked people's pockets when they were crossing half court a couple times. He is super disruptive. They had 6 steals as a team. That's a couple below their average on the season, but they're super, super disruptive. And so that would be my one, if I just had to pick one thing, it would be, if you're going to beat Florida or beat Iowa again, got to get some easier looks offensively, so that not everything has to be a contested 3 by Price or a contested layup at the rim. You've got to find ways to loosen things up a little bit, because frankly, the way Nebraska started this game, if they had been able to consistently generate a little bit more of those easy looks, they probably are not in a situation where both of us feel like we might vomit right before we go on the air here. That would be my biggest thing. But they've also found ways to win without getting those easy looks, so I have to give them a ton of credit there. But as the competition continues to get better as they move through this tournament, that's going to be the most important thing for me.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of great comments in the chat. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Facebook, X, YouTube, wherever you're tuning in. Thanks for joining us for this postgame celebration, brought to you by Union Bank and Trust here on Hail Varsity Postgame. Nebraska survives Vanderbilt, outlasts Vanderbilt, beats Vanderbilt 74-72. We do not know who their next round opponent will be. We do know who they will play, or where they will play, I should say, where they will be in Houston in the coming week. Of course, we'll have coverage for you on Hail Varsity and our Hurrdat Sports channel. So if you're ever looking for more, you can check it out there. In fact, all of the clips from this show that is brought to you by our great producer, Rico, who's listening back in God knows where country in Nebraska. And also from our great team that is down, boots on the ground, including Anna Bellinghausen, John S. Peterson, our photographer, and of course, Mike Sauter, our beat reporter for Nebraska basketball. They're giving you all the coverage you need of everything that is going up from Oklahoma City as well. Ravi, we have almost hit an hour mark here. We cannot finish on what Nebraska needs to improve on. We have to finish on some other type of memoir, note, curtsy, whatever you want to call it. I will give you the floor. And I'll even I'll lob it up to you, right? We'll give you a chance, like a Jamarcus Lawrence alley-oop under the basket. This one means so much to Nebraska. Is this the top moment in Nebraska basketball history?
Oh, yeah, unequivocally. I mean, without a doubt. There's like, I don't mean to be dismissive of everything else, like whether it's like, I remember, ironically enough, listening to Kent Pavelka on the radio call. I distinctly remember I was at my dad owned a computer shop in the 90s, and I remember listening in the workroom in the back of the computer shop to Kent Pavelka as Nebraska's winning the NIT. Like, I remember that. Obviously, the crown is last year, and winning tournaments is always fun and important. But like, this is unequivocally the best moment in Nebraska basketball history. I don't even think there's another real candidate. Beating Purdue in the regular season when they're number one in the country is awesome. Like, that's so much fun. Not close to this, right? It just isn't. So I think
beating Michigan State at home earlier this year. I mean, the Illinois road game earlier this year. The K-State Tominaga, like,
cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
The pick whatever it is. There is nothing that legitimately comes close to what we experienced this weekend for Nebraska basketball, getting the first NCAA tournament win, getting to the round of 16, and having an opportunity to continue to advance through this tournament. This is by far the best Nebraska team in history, in their basketball history. This is by far the best moment in Nebraska men's basketball history, and they're until next week at least. Well, like every next game as that opportunity. Like, every win from here on out is the best moment in Nebraska basketball history. Full stop.
Yep.
Like, that's just the long and short of it. And so, yes, it's an absolutely incredible moment. It is an absolutely incredible win. The resolve, the resolve of this team when it looked like Vandy had stolen all the momentum. There with 2, 3, 4 minutes left, Vandy had all the momentum. They were up 2 possessions. It looked like this thing was going to go the other way. Nebraska was having a hard time finding shots offensively. And then you've got, Frager makes a 3 in the corner, and you've got Sam Hoiberg flying in for an offensive rebound putback. And, you've just got so many moments and so many contributors from everybody on this team that it is, this is one of those that you will, you kind of joked about it at the start. This is one of those moments that, as a Nebraska fan, as a Nebraskan, as a Nebraska basketball fan, you will remember where you watched this game for the rest of your life. You just will. And that's a special thing. It is, regardless of sport, regardless of who you root for. Those moments in sports where, whether it's on Thursday when I'm going around and high-fiving everybody at Hurrdat Sports Bar because Nebraska won their first tournament game, or whether I'm sitting here in the basement with my wife and my dogs and you across the, across the 50 miles from here to Lincoln. Like, you're just going to remember where you are. I'm going to remember that for 2.5 seconds, because you were ahead of me on the stream, that I thought Tanner made a 3/4 court shot to kill everyone's dreams. And, those are the types of moments that, that you just kind of file away, not even purposely, in the memory bank of just like, not ever going to forget where I was on that one. Not ever going to forget where I was when I watched Corey Schlesinger run up the middle against Miami. Never going to forget where I was when I saw the Steph Curry double bang against Oklahoma City. Like, you just don't forget. You don't forget these things. And it's a absolutely phenomenal experience, and I'm so happy for not only the diehard Nebraska basketball fans, but everybody who has had their hearts and minds captivated by this team to get to watch them play at least one more time. I think that is in and of itself, a huge victory.
All right, last thing for me before we wrap this up, Ravi. Shout out, of course, all of the 14, 18, 20, 22,000, however many of you clad in red made the trip down to Oklahoma City, however many of you bought the tickets to the game, not only for Thursday, but maybe called your best friends and said, you got to come down here and witness this, be a part of the history, and come down for Saturday and be difference makers. Shout out to all of you, and thank you for being a part of this memorable moment in Nebraska history, because truly it would not be as memorable had you not been there. So drink Oklahoma City dry, leave no bar tap unturned, like do every single shot possible, and make sure that there is not a single ice cube, nor beer can, nor tab left open in Oklahoma City tonight. Of course, you're going to be listening to this on the Hail Varsity Postgame replay. That's on our podcast page and on the Hail Varsity and Hurrdat Sports YouTube channels tomorrow morning when you're making your trip back. And then you can also listen to Hurrdat Sports Live first thing, 7 a.m. on Monday morning with Ravi and Damon to make sure that they get you all the insight and analysis you need, not only from this game, but to prepare you for what's next for Nebraska basketball. For the last time here on Hail Varsity Postgame, Nebraska wins and takes down Vanderbilt and moves on to the round of 16 as they will await their opponent for next week in Houston. They win it 74-72. For myself, Austin Jacobsen, for our producer, Enrique Alvarez-Clary, Rico, and, of course, Ravi Lulla, go Big Red, and we'll see you in Houston.